And it's that show again. Do you really know? Today is episode 7. When we play the intro, you guys will find out who is our seventh guest on this exciting show. Yes, can you guys believe it? It's been 7 30-minute episodes now. We've had a lot, and here we go. Let me play the intro, and you guys will probably know who the next guest is. See you in about a minute. This is show number 7 featuring Paul Deach. All right, you guys know who our seventh guest is? Here he is, all the way from Florida. Let's bring him in, Paul. Hey, Paul. Good afternoon. Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
It's Deitch, but it's okay,
Right.
Omar. Thank you. I just want to say thank you so much for having me. So grateful to be here. And yeah, you've supported pretty much just about every event that I've done on LinkedIn. So I'm grateful to be able to spend my time here with you today.
Awesome. I'm excited. Yeah, you've been a good friend and good audio events that you keep doing every time on LinkedIn, and I try to attend what I can. And you are the perfect person to be number 7 on the show. By the way, let's start out with so your last name. Where is that originally? Are you? Is it Dutch or German?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So I was born and raised in Hawaii, so my ethnicities are pretty much like so my dad's side of the family is almost like pure Hawaiian.
Okay.
So most of my ethnicity is actually like Hawaiian, but then my grandma's dad was pure Japanese. So I don't
Hmm.
know like exactly, but like more or less my ethnicity background, and then my grandpa is like from Iowa, so he's like pretty much completely like European, Caucasian, and all these type of things. So my ethnic background is actually like 50%, maybe a little more actually Hawaiian, about a quarter Asian, and then a quarter of Caucasian. So I have like pretty much everything I like to say besides any type of Hispanic or African American.
That's awesome. I did the DNA test, and I'm actually East European, like from Bosnia, Yugoslavia, and came out the majority of it from there, but also Italian a bit. So I think some of the origins moved from there as well, which is kind of interesting. That a large 30% or so was Italian.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Paul, here we go. Let's go ahead with the first question on. I need to get another drum roll kind of thing here. Question 1, Paul. Here we go. Do, 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 do. Okay. So, how was life in Hawaii? Like, how was going
Oh,
up
oh
there?
man, what a great question. So it's been really fascinating actually because a lot of people who grow up in Hawaii like never leave. So for me, I don't know the exact statistic, but I know it's like over like half that the amount of people like live within like 50 or 60 miles of like where they were born and raised. And like for me right now, I'm like 6,000 miles away from Hawaii. So I would say it was definitely a unique experience, I would say. There were a lot of fascinating things that you probably won't experience anywhere else. But for me, in terms of what I was trying to achieve, it was just a very kind of limiting place. A lot of people there kind of live in the past. Hawaii's kind of behind. So, like, just to give you an example, they didn't get Chick-fil-A until last year. Like,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
yeah, a lot of things there are just really behind. Like, it's so far away. It's so expensive to live. It it really is a unique experience, and I know for a lot of people who are probably watching this video, Hawaii is like a dream place because everybody that I talk to, the conversation starter would be, I was born and raised in Hawaii, and they'd be like, well, why would you leave? Right. And what I would just say is that it's a lot different when you get to kind of visit a place for a week or two or like a few days versus living there for 20 plus years. And for me, I just found that I couldn't do the things that I wanted to achieve there. So that was kind of why I left.
Awesome. That's awesome. All right, that's a good. Yeah, I mean, Hawaii is something that everybody always dreams about. It's always like a
Yeah.
peaceful place. There's coconuts, there is palm trees, right? And then it's just a wonderful place. And I've never been there, but maybe one day. I think it's like 6 hour flight from Phoenix. I think. So, okay, next question. That's an interesting intrigue one. Okay, so since you are a Hawaiian that you mentioned, do you know any Hawaiian words that you can teach us? And you mentioned that you're what 50% Hawaiian or six more than that, 50%, right?
Yeah, at least.
Uh,
So the word that the word that's kind of like synonymous with Hawaii is like aloha, right? And there's so many different meanings to the word, but there was actually a song that talks about like how aloha means hello and also goodbye. And I thought that that was a really fascinating aspect growing up because what's interesting, right? Because a lot of people don't even know that Hawaii is a part of the US. So let me just say that. Our first language there is English because I have been asked that question. So I want to clear that up. But yeah, I just thought it was really fascinating how in different cultures you have words that mean different things, and being like hello and goodbye are kind of like on the opposite ends, like they go together, but they're on different sides. I thought it was fascinating that a word could do that.
oh yeah, that's interesting. I mean, that it's so Hawaii was kind of a different location, but then it's also they have their own language,
Hmm.
and I guess it was in the 50s it became a state, right? I think in the
Yeah,
1950s,
right,
something like that.
correct.
So it's fairly new, right? It's I mean Arizona is also one of the new states that happened in the 1900s, right? So it was kind of awesome. All right, that's interesting. So what was the word that you're gonna use for this
Oh,
one?
the
Oh,
the, the word was aloha.
aloha, yes, that's the most
Yeah.
common. So it can be used as hello or goodbye, right? Nice. Okay, next question. What is your definition of money? I know you're a money person. What is your definition of money?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. So first I want to say that I kind of was a money person. And really when I look at it, for me money is kind of just like a form of energy. I believe that it is something that provides people more options in life. And that's really kind of how I look at it, as it's just kind of like a resource that is code for freedom, if you will. And yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, money is important. We need it to live by, but we also don't need a lot of it, right? The more we have, the more we can get greedy.
Right. Like I always tell people, because there's a lot of people who are having like a lot of financial challenges, and you hear about people who make, oh hey Angelica, so great to see you. You see you hear about people who make like a ton of money but they're miserable. And really the point that I would probably want to get other people to think about is this idea of what you really have to do is figure out kind of what is your currency for life, right? Like for me, it's time and impact. That's those two things are more valuable to me than money. And I just feel like if money is the way that you're kind of living your life, that's why a lot of people are broke, because money can always be taken from you, right? When you use your time, that's something that you never get back. So you have to be intentional with it. Otherwise, that's why people have regrets. When you're talking about impact, there's a saying that says like at the end of the day, the only thing that we will have is the way that we made people feel. Right. Like when our time's said and done, doesn't matter all the materialistic possessions, all the accolades and all these things that you have, you can't take it with you when you go. But it's the impact and the amount of people that you're able to kind of make a difference for that will be remembered. And yeah, that's what I would
Yeah,
say.
you're right. Absolutely. I mean, Leslie has here. Hello, Leslie. Welcome. Yes, money is a resource, has no emotion, and is a tool. Exactly, right? So you use it from your job or whatever you make money from. you use it for food or anything that you want to make you happier, and from that you just don't want to excess on it, you know. So absolutely. Here's another one from Leslie. She's a good friend. Well, happy and healthy is a good everyday international mindset. Absolutely.
Yep. Oh,
And
Dr. Leslie, so great to
yeah,
see her.
absolutely. Definitely a good one there. Here, come. We'll leave that up for a little bit there. She'll be definitely on the show. Leslie, you'll be on the show. I'm booked actually until November. So it's like people have been that. So it's awesome. Okay. All right. Next question, Paul. Okay. What is this should have been a you there. I've messed up. What is your best way or our best? No, it works. What is your or our best way to collaborate? So basically, I want you to tell us the best way for you to collaborate and best way for all of us to collaborate in a sense of togetherness with LinkedIn or in general. I mean, collaboration is a big, big topic, and then Don Cohen is the master at that.
Yeah.
But what is your definition and our definition of it?
So one of the things that I love from who I call Grandpa Don Cohen, he talks about how if you can't do it, can we do it? But for me, when I look at collaboration, my network is something that I'm very protective and kind of specific of like who I collaborate with. And the way that I would answer this question would be the best way for you to collaborate is to find people that operate on your frequency, right? Like I was in an audio event earlier where I talked about I feel like everyone should have a code for kind of how they live their life, right? And my mentor uses the 4 G's: gratitude, growth, goals, and grace. Whereas for me, last week, I kind of developed my own code around the 5 I's, which is impact, integrity, intuition, inspiration. And then my 5th I, of course, is impossible equals impossible. And the reason why that is so powerful is you're able to kind of incorporate and fit your network and people that you're spending your time with into that code or however you want to label it, right? How you're living your life and using it to guide you. But I would say that it's really important to align with people that you're collaborating with, because if you're just doing it because they have like an audience or you're trying to like get something, it may not come out immediately, but it will definitely blow up in the beginning. And that's really why a lot of people have a lot of challenges with like relationships, because I don't really look at my relationships as like transactional type of thing. For me, it's really rooted in impact. So that's what I would share.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely some good points there with that collaboration. I think because sometimes, yeah, if you go overboard with somebody, they can block you or they can run away. So you gotta be collaboration with somebody who you have some relationship with or something that you have related with them on a certain topic, right?
For
And then
sure.
it can grow on that, you know. So absolutely. All right, next question. Here we go, Mr. Paul. Let's see here. Okay, your favorite place in America? I know you mentioned probably Hawaii, but is there? And you're in Florida now. Is there any? What's your favorite, I guess, vacation spot or your favorite place to, visit?
I feel like my favorite place in America is probably wherever my aunt is. It's really one of the only reasons why. So I actually, because the name of this show is Do We Really Know?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know, but I actually wanted to live in England. Like I've
Oh
always
wow.
been fascinated by the culture and all these type of things. So I always kind of saw myself there. But my aunt has been such massive influence. I talk about it all the time, how she
Yeah.
is a unicorn, really. Like the fact that I get to meet somebody like her on my journey is truly like one of the greatest blessings. And I was joking with her because it's where I've spent almost the past 3 years of my life, and they've been absolutely magical. That I hope that she outlives me so that I'm in America. Because if I don't even want to talk about it, but like if that, then I would probably move to England, because I've really just been kind of like fascinated with the culture, the historic aspect, and yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Europe is a beautiful place. That leads to another question similar to that one that we'll get to later. Okay, next question. Okay. What do you mean? My network is my algorithm, which is on your profile.
Yeah, this is funny. I always get this question. So, really, how my network is my algorithm came out. So, really, like short kind of synopsis for anybody that doesn't know my LinkedIn journey. I have been on LinkedIn for a little over a year, and I joke that before that, I had no idea what it was. And a lot of people, since I've come on here, are always complaining, especially over the past like 6 months because LinkedIn's had so many changes, they're always complaining about the algorithm, right? And losing followers, losing impressions, losing reach, and all these type of things. And for me, I've never when people have been complaining about like their numbers going down or losing followers or any of these type of things, I've never had that issue. My numbers actually go up. So the reason why I titled it "My Network is My Algorithm" is because as a lot of people were complaining about the algorithm, I realized that the secret really to LinkedIn is that the quality of your network would determine the quality of your content, right? And I talked a little about it earlier about how my network and the communities and the relationships that I've been able to build are something that's really important to me. So I actually had a connection that I was having a conversation with a few days ago, and she said, like, you're kind of like the litmus test because if you like somebody, then that's like a pretty good indicator that because I'm so specific, like not saying that, I'm better than other people or any of this, but it's just like for me, I'm able to really sort people. Like I can read a lot of things. I can tell like social media has really become kind of this like facade, smoke and mirrors type of aspect.
Yeah.
So with the connections and the people that I choose to collaborate with, I do a lot of due diligence per se. And yeah, that's what I would say. It's just this idea that because I focused on having powerful conversations and building meaningful relationships, that my network kind of became my algorithm. And I see a lot of them in here: Melissa, Tanya, Elizabeth. So good to see you. I remember when I used to come to these things as a spectator and kind of like nobody knew who I was. So it's really fascinating now that I have a lot of friends
Oh
everywhere I
yeah,
go.
absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to say hello to Amber. Hello,
Oh,
Amber. Thank you
Amber,
for
yes.
joining us here. Also, a good friend, Elizabeth, who was also on the show, my Zoombirdy, and we taped it a few weeks ago. They're going to be uploaded pretty soon, I think this week. So, hi, Elizabeth. She's going to be moving on to the so awesome. And let's see, Melissa's here. Hello. She has a good show on Saturday mornings, I believe. Yep, it's a good show. I
Yeah,
always tune
coffee
in.
chat.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then we also have Tanya Davis here. Good morning. Probably a good friend of yours, right? All right. And let me just go this one. Go to the next question here. Oh, she just kind of put in everything there. Awesome. All right. Next question, Mr. Paul. They're almost done. Just a few more here. Okay. Who I know you always mentor your mentor. Who's your best mentor or hero?
Oh man, it's
That's
really hard.
yeah.
So I talk about my aunt, but if I'm being honest, like the one person who's really kind of changed my life, and I call her like the most inspiring person that I'll probably ever meet in my life, is my mentor, Danelle Delgado. And she taught me probably like one of the most powerful quotes, and you hear me say it all the time, of be more afraid of being nothing than being something. I mean, for a lot of you who don't know who she is, she's one of the greatest speakers in the world. She's built over 2,000 plus millionaires. She's overcome cancer multiple times, single mom of 3 kids. Really just an incredible story. And I watch her constantly lead by example time and time and time again. She's really transformed her health over the past year, and she she really is kind of, I would say, the epitome of this whole idea of chasing your potential instead of accepting your reality and turning kind of impossible to I'm possible. So that's my
Got
answer.
it. Awesome. If you want to tag her in there, is she in LinkedIn? What was her name again?
Her name is Danelle
Janelle.
Delgado.
If
Yeah.
you want to tag her in there on LinkedIn, that's a good mention there. And then you mentioned your aunt. Where is your aunt at? Which state she's living in?
Oh, so my aunt's in Jacksonville. So that was actually
From
the one
Florida.
of the main reasons why I moved to Florida from Hawaii. And my
Ah,
aunt is, yeah, she's an absolute unicorn. I joke that she's my number one fan, and she she was kind of the one person who I would say believed in me when I didn't really believe in myself. And she taught me this idea of that sometimes people will hold your vision for you until you have the courage to take it for yourself. And yeah, I kind of like excluded my aunt from the list because everybody knows like my aunt is like my favorite person. I've spent the past 2 years training with some of the most successful people in the world, and my aunt blows all of them out of the water.
that's
So
awesome. Yeah, I think we all have that one family member that we all can relate to and we can talk to about whatever we have, kind of thing. And I can think of somebody too, and it's usually an aunt kind of thing. But yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely. All
yeah.
right, let's go, Mr. Paul. Next question. Okay, furthest place traveled on Earth.
Oh
Pro-
geez, what a
Probably Hawaii, I'm guessing, but maybe there's somewhere else that I don't know.
yeah. I would probably say like Hawaii would have to be it because it's pretty far. I don't know if I don't know if Mexico, because that's like the only international place that I've been, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure like the East Coast is farther from Hawaii than where Mexico is. So yeah, I'd probably say Hawaii.
Well, if you Florida to fly from Florida to Hawaii, how long would that trip be? 12 hours, I'm guessing, because of the stoppage.
Probably close. Probably like flying time. Maybe I'd say like 11, 12 hours. Yeah, around
Have
there.
you been to Florida, to Hawaii
Mhm.
from Florida?
Yep, multiple times.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. So yeah, so that's probably one trip. So we can also change it to where's the furthest place you like to travel as well. I know you mentioned
Oh,
England. Is there any other places in Asia or other places in Europe that you like to travel? I know if you go to your England, that's going to open up another area there.
yeah,
Definitely.
and I believe it's February. In one of my communities, we have a member in my community that I joined that has kind of like a nonprofit, and it's in Nicaragua.
Uh huh.
So that's where I'll be going in February. But in terms of like places that I would want to go, hmm,
Oh, February. That's awesome.
Europe Europe has always been like a fascinating. I guess if I had to pick like a country, Paris seems like really cool. Like my aunts always wanted to go to Paris and like see the Eiffel Tower and food and all these type of things. Japan for me is also like something just because I love food, and they have this like incredible 4D roller coaster called, I think it's called Edge and Nika, and I would
Oh
like
wow.
to ride that.
Where is it
I've
at?
ridden.
In
It's in Japan.
Oh wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
There,
It's
there's
kind of interesting.
there's a
Sorry.
there's a f- no, I was just gonna say there's a 4D roller coaster in the U.S.
Yeah.
It's at Six Flags Magic Mountain in California. It's called X2, but this
Uh-huh.
one's like a little more extreme, and I don't know, like I've just became an adrenaline junkie. I
It's
like going crazy.
kind of interesting. I know in Arizona we have some roads that seem to be like roller coasters. There's an area. I just got back from Tucson, and there's an area, a patch of land where it's going up and down, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like a highway, but it's between like forests and stuff like that. And it's pretty fun. You go in there and you're jumping off of your seat, kind of going in there with your seatbelt on, and it's amazing. You just go in
Yeah.
there, you just hop on and off, and it's amazing. And then you just see it's kind of a thrilling thing, and then you see around the people walking on the side, and it's like wow, amazing.
Yeah, for
um,
sure.
and then there's another area which is Jerome. It's in the northern part. It's like a ghost town, basically cliffs. So you're driving there, very steep all around, and then this it's scary, but it's nice. It's fun. So
Sounds fun.
all
I
right,
have to
all right.
check.
Let's go to the next question, and I'd like to say hello to uh, Royce here. How you doing, Royce? And what is he saying? Have you seen the trend in the type of post working better? Carousels, video. I'm not sure. Not heard of that. Have you heard of that, Paul? I don't know if you
Yeah,
know.
So, Royce, great to see you. Thank you for the question. So, I would say it's definitely a preference thing because in my network, I have people from all over the world, and they all do like a bunch of different things. What I've seen for the trend on LinkedIn lately is it's really shifted to being kind of like all about storytelling. For me personally, I like video because it allows you to really tell kind of whether or not people are genuine, or at least I can through watching video.
Yeah.
It's really easy for somebody to kind of fool you through, like, taking the nice picture, and we all can write kind of whatever we want, but when you see people on video and you see them talking, you see their expressions, and you can see a lot of these type of things. It's why video is such a powerful tool, I would say. And in terms of like engagement, LinkedIn Live, I would say, is probably just because the nature of it, of people commenting and then, going back and commenting and interacting and starting conversations. If you're looking to increase your engagement, I would say that would probably be the best avenue. For me personally, I just don't prefer the LinkedIn Lives because there's a lot of tech issues. So I actually build a lot of my reach through going to audio events. So that's what I would tell you is, definitely attend more audio events, network at these events, build more conversations, and utilize the ability to go up to stage and speak, to not necessarily like sell or like even share your story, but just contribute value to the room. And that's really what's going to turn you into an attractor. So that's what I'd say.
Awesome. Awesome. Good answer there. And then I think this is our friend,
Terry.
what's her name? Martha? I think it's Martha.
Oh,
If
Martha. Good to
it
see you.
could be. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
There's so many that it could be.
Yeah, it could be anybody. So, yeah, you're right on the video thing that you said, Paul. I mean, we are in 2023 right now, right? And or almost 2024, and who cannot be on video? I mean, that's very suspicious there. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
not willing to do that, it's definitely somebody else, and they're willing to scam you. So, definitely important to be that and do that. I always remember when Don Cohen says he had meeting with somebody and they wouldn't turn on their video. I'm like, are you
Oh,
there? Are
yeah.
you really there, or are you trying to just fool us? It's like so. And then here is Amber talking about the audio rooms. I know you. That's a big thing there. Audio rooms are fun. For me, I do like the video interaction because I get to see somebody meet with them. Maybe I'll do an audio room later, but I'm more of a video person. I like to be on and be
Yeah.
interactive kind of thing. That's
And
why I do the show.
that's
Yeah.
the nice part about LinkedIn though, right? Like it's so versatile. I
Oh yeah.
mean, it blows my mind when I hear people refer to it as like a professional platform, and I'm just like, I guess like if you want to look at it, well, what I've learned to do is just say, oh yeah, you're absolutely right. It is a professional platform. You don't have to worry about trolls. You don't get as much dating solicitations you do on the other websites. You actually kind of learn, and people here are like positive and supportive. I was like, yeah, it's absolutely a professional platform. But to a lot of the people who want to come here and they just like don't know how to use it, I would just say that the way that I look at LinkedIn now is it really kind of allows you to incorporate your personal life kind of into your professional life, because at the end of the day, we're all humans, right? Like,
Yeah.
and this is what I always tell people when they get caught up in the whole B2B or B2C thing. It's like at the end of the day, it's all about human connection and having conversations, right? Like unless you have a foolproof product, like you're selling like get a dollar gas for a gallon, you're gonna have to build relationships with people. So that's really what it all comes down to.
Absolutely, you're totally right. We're almost done. Just have a couple more minutes, and we have one more question. So this question I ask everybody, and it's a very important one, and I leave it to
Yeah.
last. The last question is: if I would invent an item to help mankind, what would it be? It could be anything. It could be emotions. It could be, you know, kind of thing.
Ooh, that's a really powerful question. I would say, so invent is kind of like a weird thing because I really do believe that two of the most impactful things that I would do in my lifetime, I'm kind of already doing this year, in terms of my live show Impossible Equals Impossible, and then kind of writing my book. And the weird part about the whole invention thing is I feel like if you look at things in the very basic context, in many instances, every problem is kind of like has already been solved. It's just about, do people have the awareness and the resources and knowledge to kind of know how to find it? I would say, like with the internet is probably like hands down the, one of the greatest inventions. And it's like, if you really take the time to like look into it, you can probably find the solution to just about every problem that exists, right? Like we kind of know how to do it. The question is that, are you actually going to execute? I feel for a lot of people that I have conversations with, we know the things that we should be doing, we just don't do them. So
Yeah.
that is a loaded question, though.
It is, yeah, absolutely, and that's a good answer. I mean, what can you invent? There's a lot of items that we can invent to help mankind, and some have invented, and that's a good one. You can just search it, and how efficient are you? How willing are you to do that? I mean, it's the tip of your fingers, right? If you want to search something, but are we getting lazier, or are we getting more effective? Because I mean, the answer is there. Things have improved compared to 100 years, 200 years ago, right? People before, for example, traveling, right? Now traveling is much faster, but we become lazier. Or another example, the DoorDash thing. People get
Mm.
food to their house when before you had to actually go physically get it, and you just can stay there on your couch, order the food without doing that, and then that's you
Yeah.
know gets rid of the movement and all that. So absolutely. Couple of minutes here, about end in 2 minutes or so. So this is the part where I just want to thank Paul for being here, and just give us your last thoughts, and tell us about what you do, and tell us how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So first, I just want to say thank you so much, Omar, and everyone who hopped in live in the audience or is going to watch on the replay. And in terms of me and what I do, I'm a LinkedIn strategist. I help entrepreneurs not only be seen on LinkedIn, but monetize their story, because at the end of the day, like, we use a lot of these fancy words like business and entrepreneurship and all these type of things, but at the end of the day, it's all about the story, right? Like, if you think about something that you buy, or the reason like why you work with someone, it's usually because of the story that they kind of uh, paint for you, right? Or the picture, well, however you want to phrase it. And yeah, it's been an incredible experience for me. I didn't realize how my kind of whole thing since I've entered the professional world has been, be the person for others that I wish that I had for myself. And I only recently came to the realization of kind of why am I currently doing what I do now. And it's because my mentor was that person for me, right? She told me, she's like, when are you going to stop being the best kept secret and share your story? And now I get to do that for other people. And I guess if I had to leave a final message, it would be that the story that you don't want to share is the story that will change your life. For me, this word of vulnerability is something that kind of gets thrown around a lot. And a lot of the things that I share, people look at as vulnerability, but I don't really look at it as vulnerability because I've kind of already healed from it. My definition of vulnerability is sharing the things that you don't want to share, because what it will do for you, as my soul brother Neil Falora says, is that vulnerability is the permission slip. The reason why audio rooms are so powerful is when somebody goes up on stage and is vulnerable and shares their story, it creates this ripple effect that other people will follow suit. And what's fascinating about this idea of storytelling is it's so powerful, because when you have the ability to see yourself in somebody else's story, you build an instant connection. And yeah, thank you so much for having me, Omar, and I'm grateful to be here.
Awesome, awesome, Paul. Let me go ahead and put you in the breakout room. I'm going to thank you, and then introduce the next guest for next week, and we'll talk in a little bit here.
Yep.
Give me a second. And that was Paul, a good friend of ours from LinkedIn. If you want to reach to him and talk to him, he had some good information there that we got to really know him. Join us next week with a good friend of mine who is in the UAE, and we will be joining him there. So we've been traveling all over the world with all these. We went to England, we went to India, we went back to Eugene, Oregon, we went to Florida, we went to. Now we're going to be going to the UAE. So it'll be interesting to find out. And you guys have a wonderful day. Enjoy your weekend and stay tuned for episode 8 next week, same time, 9:30 Pacific time, 12:30 Eastern. Wherever you are in the world, enjoy your day and make somebody happy today. Bye bye.